Today, I want to talk to you about suffering in silence. So, there's probably more people suffering in silence than we can all admit to, right? I believe that a lot of times we suffer in silence because maybe there's no one there. Maybe there's no one there to listen. Maybe there's no one there to support. Maybe there's no one there to encourage. But if you are suffering in silence, know that you are not alone. God is always there. And I believe if you are suffering in silence, then the best thing to do is to go to God in prayer. You can go to God and pour out to Him whatever it is going on in your life, whatever you need help with, whatever you're dealing with, whatever it is, you can go to God and pour it out to Him in prayer. And I believe that the Bible says that Jesus is a friend, and I believe that we can go to Him, and it's our safe place. He's safe. He's not going to tell anybody what we told Him. He's not going to judge us. He's there to love us, and you don't have to suffer by yourself. You don't have to suffer alone. And he holds it all. He holds the future. He holds the answers. And so if you are suffering in silence, you can go to God. And I also believe that He put people here to help us as well, right? We can journal about whatever it is that's going on in our lives. And I believe that's probably the second best thing after pouring it out to God in prayer, because we can get clear on what it is that's going on in our lives, what it is that we need help with, what's happening, why we feel the way we feel. And then we can talk to a therapist if we're suffering with an issue or something going on in our lives. I believe that we can join support groups. There are support groups for every single thing that you can think of. There are people who are just like you, who are in the same situation, going through the same things, who can identify with the feelings, the things that you're dealing with on a daily basis. And so it's nothing like going to somebody, a sister, a brother, who can identify, who can empathize and have sympathy because they have gone through the same thing, or they're going through the same thing that you're going through. So there are support groups all over the country, Zoom, by teleconference, by in person. There's support group for anything you can think of. And then, of course, we can go to God at any time. We don't need an appointment. We don't have to, He's not going to ever be busy. He's not going to be asleep. He's always there, always available. Of course, a therapist is also available, either in person, on Zoom, or by telephone. So there are different things that you can do to help yourself. And I believe that when we're suffering in silence, we got to start doing things differently. We got to look at our situation and get out and get some sun. Sometimes we are having a bad day or a bad week or whatever's going on. We got to get out and get some sun. We got to get out and take a walk. We got to get out and clear our heads. And we also have to have people around us who are positive, who are encouraging, who will push us into our greatness, who will help us to get out of the rut that we're in. So just think about that today. If you are suffering in silence, there are a number of things that you can do. You can sit down right now with your journal, and you can write out your prayer to God. You can talk out your prayer to God. You can sit down and say, okay, what is it? Why am I suffering? You can ask yourself the questions, what's going on in my life? What has happened? How do I feel? All these different things you can ask yourself. And it's important that we ask ourselves the hard questions. I'd like to look at, what part did I play? Why am I suffering? Is this my own fault? Is this my own choosing, my own decisions? You can just sit down and say, okay, what is it that's going on? What do I need to change? What do I want to change? How I want the situation to turn out? If you don't know what to do, you can, when you go to God in prayer, you don't have to have the perfect words. And that's the beautiful thing about God, is that He knows our heart. And so we can go to Him in prayer. And so you can look up therapists in your area. You can look up support groups. You can just Google whatever it is that you're going through. No matter what it is, there is a support group to support you in the area where you're suffering, and so you don't have to do it alone. And then lastly, you can see if there is someone in your family or friends that can be there to help you to get through it as well. There are people that sometimes don't even know what's going on, because of course everybody has their own life going on. Life is happening to all of us, and but there are still people who are, I think, gifted in this particular area of listening, of who can encourage, who edify. This is their gifting, but just know that you don't have to suffer alone. And sometimes we suffer in silence because we're afraid to go to other people. But I believe that if you go to other people with your suffering, with the things that you're dealing with, also be willing to reciprocate. Maybe not just to that person, but to others who come to you. Be somebody who be a listener. Be someone who is there praying. Be somebody who's there, who is available to help other people. So don't just seek other people when you're suffering, but be somebody who other people can seek, when they're suffering as well. So just some things to be thinking about if you are suffering in silence. And I hope this helps you to stop suffering, and that you'll get support and seek help where you need it.